Just a second. Arya was all good?
Huh.
Perfect. And we are live. Hello everyone. I'm Anshul. Welcome to Geekosopher's Tech. In today's session, joining with us, Shrey Sindher, an Android app developer expert. He has been he has been developing Android applications since 4 years now. And in today's session, he'll be walking us through why we need Jetpack Compose, what features it provides, how we can take advantage of those features in our applications. So without wasting any time, let's just jump right in. So welcome Shay. Thanks for joining. How are
Uh,
you doing?
Hi, Anshul. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. So let's start. So Jetpack Compose basically it's a new UI toolkit that is introduced by Google. And so like what is Jetpack Compose? It basically changes the way that we write code for the Android UI. Earlier we needed to write XML files and for layout and like all those stuff. Then you had an activity or some presentation which would bind those two, and there was a lot of like
Mhm.
the entire style was imperative that activity is dependent on the XML to it binds the views, and then it like sends some logic to change the content and everything. So now that all is changed. Basically, we can directly write the Kotlin code for the layout as well. We don't, as I mentioned, we don't need to write the XML files. It's just a single source of truth. Like we can place the code in activity, fragment, or any other file. It does not even matter now. So, and for that reason only, it really accelerates the way that we write UI code. So, I'll let me demonstrate. So, this is a simple screen for having the contacts search. Let's say you have to search contacts. So let's see the implementation that we would do in the earlier way and then in the compose way. So earlier you had to first write the activity code. Then you would need to write the item, like each layout item you had to write, and then you'll have to write the adapter to bind this item to the list that you have, and then you'd also have to write the complete code for filtration, and then bind the recycler view to that adapter. And
Mhm.
next, let's we like so if we see the compose code, like this is the complete compose code that you would write for the search bar, for the filtration logic, everything. That's it. No need for UI or anything else. So, so this is like,
Got it. Mm.
so why should we use Compose? So basically, as I mentioned, it's a single language for everything. We can have the presentation, view model, repository, and now even the layouts as well in the in Kotlin only. Then, as I
Mhm.
mentioned, it's a shift in paradigm to the declarative approach. Earlier, as activity was dependent on the XML layouts. Now we have the state, and that we'll come to that in a while. And then so everything is controlled by the state. Also, there were a lot of broken APIs and old APIs that were really difficult to work with on Android, such as edit
Mhm.
text, spinner. So all those are pretty much fixed now, and they are much easier to work with now.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically state and recomposition. So these are really fundamental concepts. So basically, state is some value in the app which can change over time. So for example, you are like let's take a very simple example of having a counter app. You have a simple text view, you have a simple button, and that text view has initial value of 0. When you press that button, it increments its value. So earlier, what you would have to do, you would have to have a variable which would have the count, and then whenever you press the button, you would increment that count, and that whenever that count is updated, you would display it to the UI. Now, with state, we have a unidirectional flow of data. So basically, there's also a possibility that there might be some other complexities also in that. Some other button or some other logic might also be governing that state from somewhere else, like that value. So that counter value might be, inconsistent. Like some logic is forcing it to go to value A, and some other is going forcing it to go to B. So that all is really solved here, because the values that we pass to composables are like generally part of state. So like there's a single state, and then we can use it. We use to change it to change the value in the UI, to display the update the state in the UI. So basically, it helps in this single unidirectional flow of data. So basically, you have this state here, and we have the UI. So whenever UI has any event, such as press of button click, which it changes the state, and then that state is used to update the UI. So it's a single directional flow of data, unidirectional flow of data. And advantages, it obviously provides increased testability, because UI is now decoupled from the presentation. So we can test both of them in isolation. Then there is state encapsulation, as I mentioned, that its own state is only updated in one place. So it's less likely to have inconsistent values. And third is UI consistency. So all state changes are immediately reflected in the UI. This is done by recomposition. Recomposition is basically redrawing of the composable. Composables are basically the views that we have in the Jetpack Compose. They are all called composable. So redrawing of the composables due to a change in the state, that is called recomposition. So
Okay.
basically, yeah. So basically, we can think of compose like as like there's a canvas, and then you have to draw everything on that canvas. So it's kind of like that.
So
So
suppose like there is one element which changes in the UI, only
mhm,
one part of it.
mhm.
So will recomposition like helps us to uh, efficiently update the UI, or it will like redraw the full page?
No, so whatever. So that's what state. So basically, we have to lift up the state. There's a concept called state hoisting. So
Okay.
we what we do is basically we have the composables. So composables are basically just functions, as we'll see in a bit. So they are just functions, and so it's better not to have the state values inside the function. It's better to just pass them as a function parameter.
Okay.
So that helps in the recomposition as well. And yeah, so let's move on to some basic composables. So like
Yeah.
let's get into coding. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, all right. So let's create a new project. We choose the empty compose activity next, and Geeko suffers day one, let's say, or D1, ठीक है. And there's Android, and it doesn't matter. Finish. Um, and let's let it load.
So how is the setup? Like you are just starting a new application, right?
Yeah. So
How it
basically,
is
this is
different from the conventional uh, uh,
yeah.
setup, basically.
So basically, like this is just the boilerplate code that we get from creating with an empty compose project. So like
Hmm.
if we go through it, like we have the main activity here, which would be
Okay.
basically the container for our application, and then we
Hmm.
have some other theme related stuff here like color, shape, theme, type, and inside the res folder, we earlier you had used to have this layout folder, which would have this
Hmm.
activity underscore main.xml earlier, which we like this that would be the UI part basically,
Hmm.
we would use to write the UI
Hmm.
entire XML code like text view and all those stuff. So that is now removed from here. We just have some drawables. Map is for icon, launcher icon, and values. We have color strings and themes, which we don't need to use now. And inside the Gradle script, we now have this the compose, then compose UI tooling, lifecycle runtime, and lifecycle compose, activity
Hmm.
compose. That's it. So, and if we go through this activity code, um, yeah. So activity code basically contains like on create inside on create just about like here we would have used to have set content, which would
Hmm.
have the basically it would have the reference to the XML file that we would have. Now
Okay.
instead of that we have the set content function, which is a composable function. So
Hmm.
composable function basically
What? Yeah.
so composable
Okay.
function is like a basically it's used to host the composable, like composables are drawn from it.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
any composable should be called and like can only be called from a composable function. So this set content is a composable function, and
Hmm.
this GeekoSoftware's V1 theme is a composable function. Inside it, it has a surface, and inside it, it has a greeting. So this greeting is also composable. This surface is also composable. This theme is also composable.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
so this greeting, like if we surface is basically just just a blank canvas. That's it.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
it can have a it can have a background color and
Hmm.
modifier, and there are a lot of other parameters as well if we see the source code of it.
Hmm.
So one really great thing about Compose is that it is really well documented
Okay.
instead of the earlier stuff. Like it's really well documented. And yeah, so we have this modifier parameter that we'll come to when we go with other composable. Then we have
Hmm.
the shape. We can have any shape such as rectangular shape, then circle is there, then we have rounded rectangle shape, and other shapes we can create from ourselves also. Color
Okay.
again, we have the but like any color we can pass it any color.
So. Hmm.
Hmm.
So this
Yeah.
surface is like predefined. We can use it.
Yeah, so surface is basically the parent layout. You can have a parent layout, or you can have an like yeah, you can have consider it as a like just a blank sheet. So
Hmm.
as I mentioned, it's a just blank canvas. You have to draw on it. So surface is basically just a sheet that you have placed on the like, and inside surface you'll place other composables and all.
Hmm. Okay. Got it.
So yeah, we can have border, elevation, and content.
Hmm.
Content, as you if you see, it's another composable function. So yeah.
Okay.
So if we go back, so basically the surface is used to hold this greeting composable. So if we see this greeting
Hmm.
composable, like it's just a predefined hello world type of composable. It takes the name as a string. Yeah, it takes a name as a string, and then
Hmm.
it has a text composable. This text composable, like this is now the predefined composable that we have. So again, this if you
Okay.
see, text also have a lot of parameters such as text, then color, font size,
Hmm.
style, and so on. Like a lot of parameters we have, and yeah, if we don't supply some values, there are some other like predefined values as well.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nice.
so like
So what are we like going to do in this hands-on session?
like I'd say let's try creating some like let's go through these composables one by one, right?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So basically, if you click the split view, you can also see the preview. Just that you need to basically build it first.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if you see this greeting composable is so basically about composable function, you have to create a composable function, you have to first give the composable annotation. Then the
Okay.
fun is the keyword for function in Kotlin. Then the instead of
Nice. Actually, one more
uh,
one more
uh,
question. So, can we use Java or is it only available
no,
in Kotlin? Okay.
no, it's totally Kotlin.
Okay. So, like
So,
Google has finally like fully shifted to
yeah, yeah, and
Kotlin. Nice.
it's a really great language, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
it can be used, to have this, like you can, like today you can do anything with Kotlin. You can, there is this Android development which is there. Apart from that, you can also have the desktop application. So Compose only, you can create desktop applications as well. So I created a very simple application to, just guess the Wordle guesses, Wordle that we have. So that is
Mm-hmm.
completely done in Compose, and the best part is once like the code is almost similar. Apart from the Android specific libraries, we get the entire Compose code, and then once you are done with the implementation, you can like export the have the file, have the application on all the three platforms. We can have it on Windows, we can have it on Mac, and we can have it on Linux as well. So all the three binaries we can
Okay.
get. So basically, really, you can say multi-platform. And then we have this KMM, which is Kotlin multi-platform, which is so basically now you can write the business logic for iOS apps also in Kotlin only, which is so basically
Oh,
you can
okay.
have the UI layer separately for Android and iOS, and then the business logic can be
Mm-hmm.
the same for both of these apps. So that
Okay.
plus you can have the backend as well in Kotlin, complete backend. You can have it using Ktor and other libraries, and then you can also do web development in Kotlin. You can also have the data science. You can also do in Kotlin. So pretty much all the
That's
domains I think covered now. And yeah, the
okay.
updates are regular, and it's really less code to have it in like Java, like using extension functions basically. It it's really helpful in Kotlin. You don't need to do lot of stuff that you would have to write in utils classes in Java. Like
Mm-hmm.
though all those are simplified directly in Kotlin. You have these extension functions, and yeah. So
Nice. That's good.
can keep on singing praises about Kotlin for a long time, but
Mm-hmm.
let's not deviate. So
Yeah.
yeah, as I was mentioning, so convention. So basically, functions are generally named like this is not the convention for a generic function. We have the function name starting with a lowercase, but these
Mm.
composables we have it as a uppercase, like as a word uppercase. First it is uppercase, and then we can have it as we had. So
Okay.
this greeting
This is
composable.
unconventional, right?
It's a new convention for having the composable functions basically.
Acha, for composable functions.
Huh.
Okay. Hmm.
It's
That's
specifically
nice.
for composables. We have this different convention,
Hmm.
and inside it, we have this text composable. So we have this text as a parameter name, and then inside it we have a hello name, and this name is passed
Hmm.
in from here, and this is passed in from this Android. So
Okay.
if and to preview earlier, like in XML, what happened is that as soon as you change the code in XML, you can see the updates in the preview.
Hmm.
Here, this is not there in Compose. You have to basically build the project again after making some changes. You have to build the project again, and then only you can see the preview, updated preview.
Okay. So let's try how much time it will
So,
take.
this is a like just a bare bones project. So, like hello Geekosophers. So if I now I have to build it, uh, on it was a simple change. So basically,
Hmm.
I was able to directly, it rendered automatically. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's it. Then preview also you can have other like there are other whole lot of options also. So you can have for dark mode separately. You can have for different devices separately. You can also have this show you system UI. So that's how it would look on the actual device with the system navigation bars and status bar. So all these
Okay.
things are there in the
Hmm.
when you want to preview a composable. So yeah, so let's start with the this text composable only. So if we
Okay.
see, so basically this would be the text. Then if we see the other parameters that we can have.
But how it changed so much drastically? Like before it was coming in the center, hello, Kiko Sofas.
So this is just a part of that composable that would be rendered. So basically, this is just a this is just a text composable, like just a text view that we are previewing.
Acha,
That's
okay.
it.
So,
Huh.
okay.
On
So
the
we are
on the
not
device,
previewing the application.
yeah, we are just right now we are just previewing the text composable that we have made. So
That is new. Like,
so yes,
was this feature before also, or is it available
no, no,
in this?
no, no. Earlier you have
Okay.
like you had this entire screen, and then you'd have like
Yeah.
so yeah, that's a new thing basically. So if you want,
Hmm.
we can have this greeting and Android, for example. Now they would overlap because like they're so basically by default their screen layout is such that it's there in the it starts from the top left.
Hmm.
So if you place multiple composables one after other, they would just overlap. So to
Okay.
have a layout, we basically need some other like other parent layouts kind of thing, containers basically.
Hmm.
So we have this column, we have this row, we have this box. So column is basically like single list in a vertical fashion. Row is the list in the horizontal fashion, and box is basically somewhat like you can place it anywhere. You can align, and it's basically kind of relative layout in terms of old uh,
Hmm.
conventions. Column and row can be considered as a linear layout with orientation and column as vertical and row would be horizontal. So and okay, we'll come to lazy column
So
later.
can we? Acha, okay. Later. Can we like? Can you show us how to use this column and row
Yeah, we'll
for these
come
two
to that.
text?
Okay. Let's go to column only
And
first then.
since they are overlapping, let's
Yeah.
have it.
So instead of let's have this column. Let's make a new composable. So
Hmm.
again, first we have to write the annotation. Then we write the function keyword and name list. Let's name it name list. And then let's have a list of names. Names. equal list of, and then we can have lists such as Shrey, Anshul, Tony. Right. Now, after this, so now we have this names list. Okay. Now,
Hmm.
earlier, if you had to just have this like, let's suppose and consider the old UI. You have to
Hmm.
have these three text one after the other. You would have to
Hmm.
create a linear layout for the layout, and then you would have to write three different text views with different names in the layout, like
Hmm.
UI.
Hmm. Hmm.
So now what we'll do is let's take this greeting composable only for now, and we'll what we'll do is we'll iterate over the names list, and this just pass this name as a parameter to this. Okay.
I think I missed you there.
Yeah.
We'll iterate over the list then.
We'll basically iterate over this names list, and then we'll pass every
Hmm.
item to this greeting composable. So
Okay.
basically, first we'll create a column composable.
Hmm.
So this column
Hmm.
composable, we can have a modifier, we can have arrangement, we can vertical arrangement, horizontal alignment, and then content. These are the parameters that it needs.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let's go with modifier first. Modifier is basically the parameters that we pass to the like parameters or basically how the like these are some extra information that we pass to the composable to tell it how it is to be laid out. Like
Hmm.
we can have the width and height, we can have the padding, we can have the color, background, and alignment. Like these all we can have. So if we see there's a long list.
Okay.
Background, if we can make it clickable, we can clip it to a shape. Then size is there, z index is there,
Hmm.
aspect ratio, scrollable. So like lot of these are long list. So
Hmm.
anyways, so first we let's give it fill max width to let it come fill max size, or rather. So this would basically mean that it's a old an XML equivalent of match parent.
Hmm.
So yeah, match parent, and then let's give it a padding also, padding of 16 dp, for example. So yeah, so basically now this padding is for from all the sides. We can have it we can have it horizontal and vertical also. Like horizontally we can give and vertically we can give, and then there is
Hmm.
another override which is overload basically. So that we can have it for start, top, end, and bottom also. Different values we can have. So right now let's keep it for 16 dp from all the sides. Then after this, let's have it at vertical arrangement. Or okay, we'll go to that later.
And what is DP? Display pixel.
Yeah, basically that's a unit of measurement in Android. So uh,
Okay. Can you
basically
like
layouts.
explain properly if possible?
Yeah.
Like how we measure it?
So it's so the mobile screen is basically every different device has a
Yeah.
some density pixel. DP stands for basically density pixels. So
Hmm.
every mobile screen has its like based on the resolution and everything. It has some
Hmm.
DP. So based on that, this value is calculated, and yeah, that's what it
So
is.
that
And
in every screen layer, it should be like similar to in all the screens basically.
yeah, so
Does it? Hmm.
and again, so this is DP, and for text size, we don't use DP, we use SP. So
Okay.
like similar thing. So basically, in Android, like old UI, also we had the same. We had to, give it a 16 dp. Here we are just there's a this dp is an extension function basically. So we can
Hmm.
pass an int, and if we pass the dp, it converts to the dp value.
Okay.
So okay, they have already given the um, documentation also here.
Hmm.
So dimension value representing device independent pixels. So something like that.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, going back. So first we have created a column. Now what we'll do is we'll just iterate over this list. So names dot for each, and we can just pass the greeting, and we can pass it. This is it. It is basically every name that we are getting,
Hmm.
and to have this in a have it as a like So now right now this preview will not change because we are passing greeting parameters here.
Hmm.
If we want to see the change, we need to pass this names list. Name list. Yeah. So now if we build and refresh,
Okay.
yeah. So now we can see hello Shrey, hello Anshul, hello Tony.
Hmm. Perfect.
So we just had to write this like we just had to go over this list and pass this composable. That's it.
Hmm.
Pass it. So that's how easy it is. So now basically text we can have it like we can change it. We can basically there are a lot of parameters such as color, for example. So if we can give it a color, material theme dot colors dot primary, let's say, and then we refresh it. So if you see now the color primary is applied to all these.
Hmm.
So and like the similar is we have text font size, we have font style, font weight, and a lot of these parameters we have. So
Yeah.
if we see modifier, we can have modifier dot padding and add some padding to each of these text.
Hmm.
So now 8 dp is padding is applied to all these texts on all the sides. See, and so basically this similar thing we can do in the arrangement also. Okay, so let's go to the column and see the arrangement. So one thing that we need to know is column and row. They are related and like they are basically just equivalent. Just the orientation is different.
Hmm.
So the difference is that in column we have the vertical arrangement and horizontal alignment. In row we have the horizontal arrangement and vertical alignment, which makes sense
Hmm.
also because vertically arrangement. Let's see the vertical arrangement. So arrangement. So we have these different arrangements. So space between, center, space evenly, bottom, space around, and top. So basically, bottom would what bottom would do is it would uh, like basically it's just the placement. So it would arrange all of its contents to the bottom. Then top and center are also like self-explanatory. These
Hmm.
space between, space evenly, and space around, these are interesting. So let's see one by one. So if we space between, what it will do is it will have all the space that the composable that column has, and it will basically divide this into like there would extremes would be occupied, and then center
Hmm.
places would be occupied. So if we see the documentation,
Hmm.
So basically, space between can be seen like this. This hash can be understood as a space. So if this and if this is the screen end, this is like the start. So first element, then there would be space. Then second element, there would be space, and then the third element.
Hmm.
For space around, we have every element would have the similar space around it. So it would be hash one hash, like some spaces there around one, some space same
Hmm.
spaces around two, and same spaces around three. And if we go to this space, where is it? Spaced around and spaced evenly. It would have same space, like it would distribute the space around all the composables. Only
Hmm.
difference between spacing evenly and space between is that in space evenly, we have the we have some margin of padding, you can say, around like before and after the first and last elements also. So
Okay.
if we go and write space evenly,
And how this entire space is allocated in the
okay,
screen?
so yeah, so basically in the column we have given uh, directed it to fill the complete size. Okay, we have
Hmm.
told it to fill the complete max size. So this is
Hmm.
having the entire screen to itself. Okay,
Okay.
then this space evenly, what it would do is it knows that it has three views. So
Hmm.
and
Accordingly, it will
aco-
spread the
yeah,
uh, text.
so
Okay.
like if it's this height is h, and each of these views height is some, let's say, x. So h minus
Hmm.
3x and divided by whatever the number of views, basically plus one. So
Hmm.
that kind of formula they might have had.
Hmm.
Plus there are some calculation regarding the padding and all the values also. So
Hmm.
that is also there. And space around, lastly the space around we see. Hmm. Yeah. So basically, we have some space, even space around every like if this is x, so there is this space has 2x, and this space has 2x, and this has x. So basically,
Hmm.
each composable has a same space around it. So that's why the space around. And
Hmm.
then we have the horizontal alignment. Alignment we have end, start, and center horizontally. So by default, it start. If we place it end, it would be right aligned, and center would
Hmm.
basically just center them in the screen.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Got it.
something like this. So
Hmm.
while we are on the topic, let's suppose we have like let's remove the arrangement now, and let's have like let's suppose we have a lot of these names, right? Long list of names we have, and let's build it. So now if you see, the list is going out of the page, right?
Hmm.
These names are going out of this page. So for now, for this, we can have a scrollable, like there are two approaches. One is to have a scrollable, we can just add a scrollable parameter to this column only. And the scrollable, basically it requires, again, it requires a state. So let's, we can, okay, remember scrollable state. Hmm. Or let's come back to the state later. So anyways, so basically this is basic implementation of the column and the text composable. So
Mhm.
like, okay, so let's go to button now. Uh, or let's create another composable, my button. And to create a button, basically, we have to so button is kind of container, and inside that container we have to again pass it some text. So that text again would be a composable itself. We have to pass a text composable, and yeah.
Mhm.
So for button, we can pass the on click, what we should do when it is clicked. Let's suppose we just wanted to log some value now,
Mhm.
and button click, and so inside this we have the row scope. This row scope is basically what it says that like we can see this row scope is written here. What it is indicating is that whatever we place inside this row scope would be laid out as a row. All right. So
Mhm.
we can have we can have if we want, let's suppose we have an add button, right?
Mhm.
We want to have the add plus symbol, and then we want to say write a text which would say add. So we
Mhm.
can have it inside a row. So first we can maybe have the icon. Um, mhm, icons dot default dot add, and then content description we can pass as add. So basically, this would create a plus icon over there, and
Mhm.
this is basically the default icons that are provided as part of the Compose library only. This content description is for accessibility purposes. We don't see it anywhere. It says that some devices have this that here like screen layout readers basically use it. So you can pass it or you
Okay.
can leave it also. And
Mhm.
after icon, we need the text. So we can pass the text as add. So, all right, we have this button composable now, and we have the click function also. We have the icon and we have the text. So
Mhm.
let's lay it out after the in the column only. So once these
Okay.
three names are there completed, we would have the button. So let's call the my button, and let's build it. Yeah. So we have the three names, and then after that we have the button. So right now, if you are seeing this plus and add are really close. To separate them out,
Mhm.
we can just again add some padding and yeah. So this is the fun part. So in earlier in Android, you could just have the single single icon inside a button. Now,
Oh,
since we have the
okay.
row, we can also have another icon if I want,
Mhm.
like even as many icons as I want, basically. Uh,
And what about if we like place the my button function
hmm.
in the default preview after the names list?
Names
Like
list, it would overlap in the preview.
it would overlap, right? So
Yeah.
how we can like what is the best practice like in such cases?
For the preview or for the actual layout. So if you just
No,
wanted
suppose
to,
like there are different functions, so how
mhm.
we will place it?
So
Like,
one thing you can do is you can have a separate preview for the button itself also. You can create a separate uh, my button preview we can have, and, and inside that we can just call the my button. And now if we build, yeah. So basically now we have the we have one preview. This is the first preview, default preview, and then we have the my button
mm,
preview, which is there. So this basically, as I mentioned, we can have multiple icons also. Uh, yeah.
mm. So,
So,
so how it will come like in the app? This is just the preview, right?
hmm So okay,
So how
let's
it will be laid
uh,
out in the app?
let's launch a device only. Hmm, let me run it. Hmm. So now if you see, uh, the app is run, but
Mm-hmm.
what we haven't changed anything inside the main activity. We were just playing around with the
Oh.
preview. That's why it still shows just the greeting composable. To change this, we need to just pass in the name list instead of this and build it again. Hmm, something's wrong. Okay, name list, and for some reason it's not updating inside my app. Name list.
Mm.
In the column, we have the greeting name and then my button. I think it might be something to do with the invalid.
Are you connecting Android to your mobile phone?
Yeah.
How will we see?
I'll share the screen. Don't worry.
Acha, okay.
Uh, yeah. Now it's there. Um, dark mode. Okay, so yeah, here it is. So basically, hello Shrey, hello Anshul, hello Tony,
Hmm.
and if I open the log cat and my tag, see button clicked, it's being registered.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Nice.
So basically, this was it for the column and text and the button also. So let's
Hmm.
say let's go over to the state. We discussed state a while back. So just
Yes.
to recap, it's just a value that can change over the time. So let's suppose what we want to do is whenever we click on add, we want to have another name added to it. All right. So
Hmm.
say my button is okay. Okay. So inside the name list, we'll do is instead of just having a list, we'll change it to a mutable state list.
Okay.
Mutable. Giving error. Ah. So if we see the error, it says creating a state object during composition without using remember. So we have another function called remember.
Hmm. Okay. What does it do?
So if we go to its documentation, it says it remembers the value that is produced using some calculation. This calculation can be anything that like it can be anything such as addition of value or change of value, anything. This calculation refers to just
Hmm.
change in values. So this recomposition would always return the value that is produced by this uh, composition. Okay,
Hmm.
so I'll just okay, it's not imported yet. So now what we have is we have the mutable state list, and inside it we are initializing it using three names. Okay. Now let's my button. What my button would do is on button click, it would add, we need to add some name to the list, right? So
Hmm.
what we can do is so basically now okay, so this is interesting. We don't have the list reference inside the on click. Like we in this function we don't have the list reference. It's there
Yeah.
in some other composable. So
Hmm.
what we can do is we can take this on click and pass it as a parameter inside this my button composable. So this
Hmm.
is called a lambda function basically. So on let's say on button click or yeah, but on button click. So type would be the function and it would return unit. Like unit is basically void in Java, kind of.
Hmm.
So on button click, and we can also pass in some name. Suppose we had the name here. So this name would be of type string. So we have a function on button click. So this my button composable is now expecting a function which would take the name as a parameter and then and return nothing. That's it. And we'll pass
Okay.
inside this on click, we'll pass this on button click, and
Hmm.
inside it we can pass any name that we want. Let's suppose Anna. So we'll pass this, and wherever we are calling this my button composable, my button, now we have to pass this. If we see, we need to pass this on button click function also. Like what would this function be? So on button click equal, and then we can now we have the names list here. So we can just do names dot add, and name would be the parameter name. That's it. And inside the preview also we can pass in some empty function also. So now what I have done is basically I have passed a function as a parameter to this. Yeah, I have passed a function as a parameter to this my button composable,
Hmm.
and this function is declared in the name list composable also, where we actually have the reference to this list. So okay, let me run the app again. Yeah. So now we have this hello Shri, hello Anshul, hello Tony, and whenever I click on add, hello Anna. So this Anna was updated. So okay, let's go through what actually happened here. So whenever as soon as we passed Anna over here, this name was added to this names list, and since it was inside a state list, this caused as soon as the state list was changed, it caused this recomposition to occur. So basically, this entire layout was again laid out. So
Hmm.
that's why. So a name was added, hello Anna, and we can keep on adding it. So yeah. So basically, that's it. Uh, if you had to do it inside the in the older way, you would have to have a recycler view, because their XML layout you cannot change afterwards. Or if you still wanted to do it the old way, you would have to create have a list view or some kind of view container inside the Kotlin only, and you'd have
Hmm.
and or in the basically XML also, and then you'll have to manually create all this every view inside the Kotlin and add it manually.
Hmm.
Lot of work
Lots of.
for a yeah simple thing. So that's it. So basically, now that we have made this, let's
Hmm.
do something more complicated. Let's suppose we don't want to every time add this name Anna. We want
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
let the user input the name, and then we want
Hmm.
the and when we click on add, we want to change this name over here, like add this name over there. So let's okay. After this list, we'll have a edit field, text field, and whatever name we add, when we click on add over there, we'll take that name and add it to this list. Okay. So okay, let's create another composable um, name field. Um, so this name field, it would okay. So earlier you could have this text field directly, and Android itself would take care of like whenever you press any key, any value that you enter into the text field, Android would store it and it display it. So now we need to store that value, whatever value we have, and update it and then display it to the text field also. Like
Hmm.
let me show. So some value would be there, and on value change, it's a if you see in the on value change, it takes a string and then gives nothing. So it's a function basically. So and give it some modifier values, modifier dot fill max width, and have some padding. Padding it would all automatically have. Okay. Value on value change modifier. Yeah. So right now, if we directly build it, okay, we didn't call the name field. My bad. Name name field. Okay, so now we have the name field, but
Hmm.
if we were to type anything in it, we cannot, because we are whatever key press I'm doing, we are not storing its value anywhere.
Yeah. We're
So
not
what
tracking
we yeah, so what we need to do is basically let me first add some padding. And then let's have a state. So let's name it name state, for example, and that would be remember and select mutable state of, and then default value we can have it as empty string.
Hmm.
And now we'll pass it pass the value like this, name state dot value. And on value change is basically whenever you are whenever the value of the text field is changing. So by default its value is empty string. When I want that whenever I type a or any letter, this
Hmm.
name state should have this value updated to it. So what I'll do
Hmm.
is name state dot value equal it. It would be anything that I type. So or yeah. So now what would happen is, as soon as I'm pressing anything, it would change this. The name state value would be updated, and it would recompose,
Hmm.
and this value would contain the updated value. So okay, sorry, yeah. So now if I type anything, yeah. So now as you can see, whatever value that I'm typing, it's being reflected here.
Hmm.
So that part is fixed now. So now we want this value in inside this name list. Basically, whenever we press this button, this value should be added, right?
Hmm.
So everything is separate now. This button is separate. This text field is name field is separate, and then this list is separate. So
Hmm.
what we need to do is basically we need to uplift, like hoist this value and move it from here to the list, composable. So now we have this name state over here. We'll pass this name state to this and have the parameter here. Name state mutable state of string. Yeah. So now we have lifted this state from the composable to another composable where we
Hmm.
are having other things. So now this is lifted, and in this button press, what we'll do is instead of adding just any name, we would take the name state dot value and add it instead. Yeah. So let's run it now. So mm, Roy, let's suppose I type in Roy and click on add. So now hello Roy is added.
Hmm.
Uh, Ray and then add hello Ray. So that's what. So ideally, these values can be should be updated, like hosted to the parent composable where we have all the references to the view model and everything. And
Hmm.
these values should ideally be obtained from view model only because view model does not recompose, so it has all these values saved in it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that was text field button column row. Box can be considered
Hmm.
as a basically relative layout where we can align one view to in respect to another view or in respect to the parent. So this box would be basically complete view, and then inside it we could have the like we can have one name here, one name at the bottom right, and so on. We can align, and we can
Hmm.
also align one view in respect to other. So
Hmm.
that then. Okay, what else? We can, okay. So while I was mentioning about the, so let's suppose we have a long list, okay. We have a long list of names. What what we need to do is, okay, let's look at the recycler view comparison, like equivalent of recycler view in the compose. So, okay, so the equivalent is lazy column or lazy row.
Hmm.
So it requires content as a composable
What
function.
what does it do?
So lazy column is basically it's a scrollable column first, and it's an equivalent of recycler view. So okay, suppose we have 100 values, okay, in this names list,
Hmm.
and we pass it to the column and make it scrollable and everything. What it
Hmm.
while when it is rendering, like when the app is laid out, it would load all those 100 composables and keep it in the like view hierarchy there only.
Hmm. Hmm.
Lazy column, what it would do is it would only keep those composables which are actually supposed to be there on the screen. So let's say of those 100, only 10 are being shown right now on the screen at any moment. So it would not keep entire 100 of those in the memory. It would just load the top two and top bottom, for example, and keep those in the hierarchy. So it's really efficient and yeah. So that's it. And so lazy column basically it requires some content as a composable. Then it can have it can have lazy list state that is there. Content padding means basically what padding should be there
Hmm.
before the content. Then reverse layout is there, and vertical arrangement and horizontal alignment same to the column we have, and we have fling behavior and everything else also. So let's disregard that for now. Take this. All right. And okay. So now what we did was names dot for each. So basically we iterated over this names list, right? Now
Hmm.
we don't need to do that in this. We just need to write items and pass in the list. Mm, I think I items. Yeah, I'll just pass in the names, and for each of these names, what do I need to do? I just need to pass those. No, name, and I'll just pass it to the parameter. Yeah. So right now, what I've done is I've instead of looping over all these names, I've just passed it to this
Hmm.
items composable, and it would iterate over these names list. And for every
Hmm.
iteration, it would call this composable and pass this value. So if we see, yeah, so list is there now. So if when we, next we, inside the lazy column and lazy row, we cannot directly call the composable. We have to have those in the inside the item composable.
Hmm.
So there in item next we have the name field, and after that we have the my button composable. Okay. So like just like that. But now if we have lot of names, it would be really no, faster to load and manage.
Hmm.
So okay, let's try that only. Mm, or create another list. Mm, a list equal array list of string and then repeat 100 times uh, a list dot add it or some value. So now this a list would contain value 1, value 0, value 1, and so on, so forth.
Hmm.
And let's try to load this list instead of the names list here.
Okay.
And before that, we'll to see the comparison, we'll load it inside the column first. A list. All right. Mm, yeah. So firstly, this is not scrollable, but let's make it scrollable also. Let's say mm, scroll state. So basically, to make any column, make a column or row as a scrollable, we need to again save its position also. Whatever we are scrolling, wherever we are scrolling, we need to save its position also. And again, to do that, we only have this option of having it as a state. So this remember scroll
Hmm.
state basically it's a function wrapper kind of wrapper function to remember the scroll state. So scrollable and scroll state. What else? Orientation equal orientation not vertical. Enabled blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let's try this. Mm, not scrolling yet. Let's see.
Uh, s- so Shrey, Aditya have joined, Lakshya has joined, Lakshin Narula has joined.
Okay.
He's saying hello. You want to say
Yeah.
something to them?
Yeah. Hi guys. I hope you're enjoying the session. And yeah, any comments or any questions you have, feel free to ask.
Yeah, so Aditya
Um,
is saying elegant.
yeah.
Thanks for
So
that.
basically, we have this as a scrollable scroll state.
And Shivank is also here. Hello, Shivank.
Yeah, I mean, so this is there, and then now if we see inside this lazy column, it's really smooth and so basically what is happening is like if you see hello till hello value 22, it is there in
Hmm.
the and some maybe hello value 25 also it is there in the memory. And
Okay.
as soon as I scroll, those composables are loaded and then they are, kept in memory. And those that are
Hmm.
above the, like those which are not shown, they are also disregarded, like they are discarded from the memory. So that
Okay.
way it's really smooth
Efficient.
and efficient. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, so this is,
One question like this is like mostly like infinite list we get in Insta or some social apps, right?
mm,
So
okay, huh?
do they use the same type of concept? Not they are not using this tech, but are they using the same kind of concept?
Any list that you
Hmm.
make in Android, you like in earlier Android XML and all, you'd have a recycler view. That's also a similar thing only that you have.
Hmm.
So this is based on recycler view only that some top items are like only some items that are there in view are kept in the memory. In recycler view, what you had to do is if once you have this names list, you would have to create this kind of item in the XML, and then
Okay.
you would have to create an adapter class and bind it to this to that XML item XML, and you'd have to basically take in the activity or fragment of it, wherever you have the recycler view reference, you'd have to pass that adapter to that recycler view.
Hmm.
So that's how it was connected. So instead of that, we just have this lazy column, and inside of it we have items, and inside items we just have this composable. That's it. All this other stuff is just other composable. That's what we have. But
Hmm.
this much is the entire implementation that we need for a recycler view. That's it. So
Hmm.
really,
Okay. Hmm. Yeah.
rem- so that's how it accelerates the development time also.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, so yeah, basically there are a lot of concepts if you want, like if one wants to dive into. So um,
Hmm.
tomorrow what we'll do is we'll have a we'll create like we'll also look at a architecture aspect also. We'll create a MVVM app, and it would basically load the list of movies from TMDB or some movies API, and show it. And yeah, let's create it tomorrow. So
Yeah. Sure.
hope to see a lot of you there. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I
Yes.
think that was basically it. So lot
Hmm.
of other components also we have. So we have the floating action button and everything we have.
Hmm.
Um, so they all are like basically created. The concept is basically the same. We have this floating action button also.
Hmm.
Inside this, we can pass in anything. So if we want an icon, we just need to pass in icons dot default dot add and content description. So now this would just create um, an icon name field. I think. Okay, item name field. Namespace. Let's pass that also. Not required, but yeah. So okay. So now if you see, we have this floating action button also now. So all I had to create right was this floating action button.
Hmm.
Pass in some on click. What should happen when you click on it, and inside it just pass an icon. That's it.
Hmm.
So that's how it's really easier to use also once you get the hang of it,
Hmm.
and really intuitive, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Okay. So let's pause for now, and
yeah,
we'll continue
let's resume
later.
to
Yeah, tomorrow at same time, 12 o'clock,
yeah.
where we will be making a demo app, as Shrey told. And see you guys then. Have
Chalo.
fun. Happy weekend.